Wellness centers. During the COVID time, kids obviously hit a mental block, which I have 100% blame all these idiots that did this to these kids, right? That voted for these things, that allowed these shutdowns, that nobody stood up except for us parents locally at the local level who raised heck at these school board meetings. We can go back to school board meetings where we all went wild because we were like, what in the world are you doing to these kids? And while my kids were safe because I pulled them, not all kids have that opportunity. We know that, right? You have two working parents. The system's designed right now to really afford things. You usually have two working parents, right? So how is a parent going to just all of a sudden quit their job and then now be a homeschool mom or dad? Yes, you can do it with planning. You can do it. And I say sacrifice and new parents coming in, find a way to do those things. But look, the reality is the way the system's designed, most of us couldn't do that, okay? So then you have all these trust things. You have things like wellness centers that were funded through the money that was given to the schools, right? To get kids back on track and to help them with learning loss and mental, challenges, issues that they were fighting. Well, those wellness centers, a lot of them, even in LA, you mark my words, go look at it. These wellness centers that were created just to provide a space for children to get a break if they were experiencing some kind of mental, challenge, they were turning into clinics, and Planned Parenthood was behind them partnering. And in LA, if you look, there's many high schools that actually have Planned Parenthood on campus. Through the wellness centers.
Say that once again. High schools have Planned Parenthood on the campus?
On campuses, and that was funded through, initially started through the money with wellness centers. So while a parent like you or me might think, oh, wellness centers, some kids might need a break. They can go in there, it's a quiet room, they can get a break. They were putting private rooms in there and now turning them into clinics. Now why? Money, right? Control, manipulating children. We've seen how big gender affirming crap care is too. Those are part of the plan in California. We see the laws. You don't affirm your child's gender dysphoria. You don't affirm that they're another, sex that they were born. They could take your child away. They put them into what? Where are they going to put them after they have so many of these kids that they're messing up and pushing these ideologies through the school? I'm not trying to scare anybody, but look at community schools would be a great place when they get it all funded and ready. Because what would a community school eventually have? Housing. Mm-hmm. What did you see Tony Thurmond not too long ago promote? Housing for teachers. Remember? He wanted to take school districts' extra property, which usually are allotted for making sure if a community grows that you put a school there, use it for school. He wants to put housing for teachers. But what could that housing for teachers easily turn into? I'm not trying to scare anybody, but that's what's happening. Me as a first-time school board member 2 years ago, I'll tell you, I went to an advocacy trip in D.C. through the School Board Association, and I heard Becerra, you know who he is, right? He straight up told us school board members, let me in, I have money, let's put clinics on your campuses, to us California school board members. They want California to pilot these programs. They want California to be the example for the rest of the state or the rest of the country on how to pretty much take over the family.
You know what scares me is there is such a big demand on Planned Parenthood and abortions. So I'm 36. I was 16 years old 20 years ago. I don't remember my friends and peers having sex to the right and to the left.
No, because there was prevention taught. Now you're teaching kids what holes you can put it in. And I hate to be vulgar, but that's the truth. It's insane.
You want to tell me that 16 years old are just having sex every day? With new partners, without condoms, without anything?
Why not if you have parents working, not really understanding what's going on? And I will protect our school district because I believe our school district is one of the few gems, and there is other school districts that do the right thing. They're not doing what these other school districts are, but these other school districts are pushing ideologies in there. They're not teaching abstinence. We were taught that. I remember being taught that when I was younger, right? You don't do that. And they taught us the normal things that you would go through. And if you do, then this is what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. But they don't do that anymore. They're teaching kids how to do it, what to do, what things can be done. I mean, we've even seen reports of people in California, which I'll find it and send it to you, using different kinds of things that kids can use and not get pregnant. And it's like, but still being sexually active. It's absolutely insane what they're doing. And look you can't say that, all school districts are safe, even our own, if the state turns around and does a law because they want school districts like ours to push what they want because they know we're not doing it. Then they make it law and make us do it. And then they hold us captive to funding.
But who benefits from promiscuity?
the government money, these organizations, Planned Parenthood. You're taking control of a child. You're not allowing them to have a proper future because you're 15 and having a child. I'm not saying they can't have a good future. Of course, we've seen young teens turn around their lives and become great parents and have a great success. But the reality is, if there's so little, what's happening? The government's benefiting from it. It's like a captive circle that just keeps taking you in and making you dependent on the system. We should make people free, like allow them to be free thinkers, not dependent on any system. Look at when my dad came from another country, when you came from another country, you get help, right? You get assistance for certain things, but that's a temporary assistance. I'm glad. And I love that you did that. My dad joined the military. But what I'm saying, like when my mom died, my dad was faced with housing 3 of us at he didn't make very much. I think it was the minimum wage back then was $5 or $6, right? And he got Social Security for us and Medi-Cal. I don't fault my dad for getting those things, but it was temporary. Once he was able to get on his feet and work, 7 days a week, this many hours, it was a temporary thing that you use to get on your feet, and then you're back on your own. But they make lifetime, like you're dependent on them, right?
So Planned Parenthood is funded by the government. So when they want to take your tax money.
How are they not funded by, or at least helped to be funded by the government if the government isn't giving them money to partnership and put on their campuses and in everywhere, right? In their cities. We seen Fontana, what happened. We did a pro-life protest at one of the parks because Planned Parenthood was coming in locally to close to one of their school districts. And my friend Greg and a few others were attacked viciously, and luckily they had Nicole Pearson on their side to help them with the law part of it. But they were trying to make them an example not to challenge what was happening. And locally, they were standing up and saying, no, we don't want this. We don't want this near our children. We don't want our children to have access.
Okay, so once Planned Parenthood gets funded, for instance, they get, let's take an example, $1 billion a year. So who gets the money? The CEO, CFO, CMO?
I'm sure they're all making good money, but look they also have their organizations, parts of their organizations where they can get into political parts. So Planned Parenthood does have one where they can politically endorse candidates and give candidates money. Locally here, Planned Parenthood's foundation or whatever they want to call it, I forget what it's called, I could show you too. They endorse school board members. Why are they endorsing school board members, Apollo?
Because school board members can endorse.
They can now partner with them on campuses. There's no reason for Planned Parenthood to be endorsing school board candidates, is there? Well, obviously there is, because they are doing it and they're giving them money. They're doing that all over. Chino wasn't the only one. Chino Valley wasn't the only one. You can go on their website. They're endorsing assembly members, because obviously they're making the laws, right? Senators, and school board members, city council members, because city council members approve what? Them coming into the cities, building their organizations here.
To get more money, to
and
endorse candidates.
They kill life, babies. Let's not look at, they were celebrating when they had, remember their convention, the Democratic convention or whatever it was? They were celebrating it. Why are you celebrating and encouraging it? You should be helping people understand what they're doing, what they're going to face when they destroy a life like that. I could tell you right now, I went to school with some of, my closest friends, and they've done stuff like that. And they go through a process their whole life regretting what they did. I mean, it's sad. Like, why are you encouraging that on a young child? While you are encouraging changing your sex, or you can't change your sex, but trying to do that and mutilating your body and cutting off healthy body parts, why would you do that? Planned Parenthood is a big advocate for that. You know that. I know that. Pushing, what is it called? The hormone blockers. I remember sitting with one of the mainstream media ladies, and I don't need to even say their names, but sitting across having an interview, and she goes, well, why are you so against puberty blockers? What, are you kidding me? You want to take away and sterilize a child? Like, take away their ability to have a child one day? Let them decide that when they're an adult, not a child. Like, you're taking their ability away. You're messing with the normal chemistry of their bodies. Like, how do you not think that that is wrong?
Can you imagine yourself being like, let's say, a 25-year-old going to the DNC and like, oh, I'm pregnant. Maybe I should get rid of my baby. Like, and you go to a van of a Planned Parenthood and you get an abortion.
Well, because they were celebrating it, remember?
That's madness.
It's evil. It is, and
like
you and I both
know. A burger? I'm gonna get an abortion.
That's what they're trying to make it, though. They're trying to make it like it's not a big thing. Exactly. And you and I know, let's be real, as believers in Christ, this is all a spiritual battle. It's all evil. It's all the enemy seeking in and trying to destroy families, right? And then that's all rooted, obviously, in what? Communism. We all know that. Like, you're controlling and taking away the families. That's what communists do, is it not?
Yes.
They take away the family's ability to be a family, to provide, to do what's best for their family.
Or to snitch on your parents. If they
And they're doing that. Are you kidding me? You even see locally how Bonta and all them on different kinds of things are paying people or encouraging people to be tattletellers if districts aren't doing what they want. I could tell you right now, there's been things where we're like, okay, we don't want to do this kind of a survey that's required by law, so we're going to do it this way. Well, we can't even do that because we have snitches everywhere that are going to go tell. And we're just doing what's best for safeguarding and protecting children. But they require certain things to take certain money, and they know districts need money because they're mishandling it up there in Sacramento, right? They're mishandling the way it's funded. And that's why I think, like with Trump, I really hope that I know that they talk about demolishing the Department of Ed and absolutely, to a certain extent, put it back at the states, but be careful with putting everything back at the states, right? Hold us accountable with less strings attached because California is going to go wild and our kids are going to suffer the most, and our kids are still part of the United States. So we still need to make sure we're careful. But if you do it the right way,